Hello, you're back with Beatle, back on Survivor IO. How good is the boomerang? That is what this video will be finding out. I have attached the conduction device, which is the tech part for the boomerang. It gives you the effect being a bit of extra HP and also the active effect of collecting the boomerang to reset its cooldown, so it fires a little quicker once you do collect it. And we're just going to jump straight into chapter 24, still using the void power. There it is, and we're just going to jump into chapter 24, Steep Escape. Hopefully we'll be able to complete it, but we're also obviously going to be focusing on the boomerang, upgrading that as much as we can to see how good it can be. And we do actually get it as the first upgrade, throws one boomerang. There it is. So the boomerang is one of those weapons that I haven't really used that often at all in Survivor IO in general. It's just one of those weapons that I think, just get the void power upgraded there, why not? Just one of the weapons that is so sort of middle of the road, mediocre. It's never going to be top in terms of damage dealt, DPS, that sort of thing. So it's just something I've never really used that often, but I guess we can see how good it can be. Let's get the drones. We'll try and get the destroyers. That's always quite an interesting comparison to have the destroyer as well, to compare how good the boomerang is against that, as it's obviously a strong weapon in itself. So yeah, I mean, you can see what the boomerang does here. Just sort of fires out, goes about halfway up the screen and then back down. It's just so sort of underwhelming in terms of what it actually does. Let's get the void power upgraded again. I suppose I am going to be focusing on if there is a passive upgrade that allows for better sort of boomerang damage, then I will be getting that as the video is focusing on the boomerang. But if there's nothing available, then I'll just carry on upgrading normally as I would, just so the sort of comparison at the end isn't too sort of skewed off. So we will get the drone here, although I think the ammo thruster could be a good passive upgrade to get the boomerang. I presume it would fire quicker, or at least once it's in the air it moves faster, so it would return to you quicker. And with the tech part, I am just going to sort of move up to see if I can move into the boomerang and then the cooldown is made quicker. Let's find out. It's really hard to do, actually. We'll get the high power magnet here, obviously loot range increase, but also it is the Evo passive upgrade for the boomerang there as well. It's quite tricky to actually play for the boomerang to do the damage. You sort of got to move forward when the boomerang is about to be thrown, just so it actually has the range to hit enemies. But other than that, it's actually really tricky. Again, we're not actually getting the boomerang upgrade or anything. We'll get the bullet flight speed here, as I think it should actually make the boomerang move quick once it has been fired, which sort of in theory then should increase the how quick it fires as well. And we'll get the boomerang here, so +1 boomerang. Actually, even forget what the upgrades do. So it isn't directly behind it, so it does widen the area of effect of attack for it, which I suppose is good. And we'll get the lucky train here. One of them has to be boomerang. There's quite a lot of boomerang upgrades, and it is, thankfully. Damage doubled, so still only 2 boomerangs, but the damage is doubled. And to be fair, I have noticed when it does hit an enemy, it does actually die instantly. And there's the boomerang again, adds boomerang size. I actually have completely forgotten, it's been that long since I've used it, what the actual boomerang upgrades are. And to be fair, the boomerang size now, I know it had obviously just been doubled, so it would be bigger, but they are really big. Zombies incoming. We probably should get a level up 2 here. I've just sort of been collecting a few gems, and there it is, adds boomerang size and adds boomerang damage. So interesting, there's still only 2 boomerangs on the screen. I wonder if that changes. I really can't actually remember what the Evo upgrade is for. I think it's magnetic rebounder. Not actually 100% sure, to be honest. Let's get the ammo thruster here. As I say, we're just going to focus on the boomerang as and when there is any upgrade that we can actually sort of improve or increase how the boomerang is going to do. I will be getting that just to sort of see if we can get it to be #1 in terms of damage dealt. That will be very nice. Let's get the void power upgraded here. Looks like it is only firing 1 boomerang. I swear there should be 2, so really not sure what's gone on there. Has 1 boomerang just been lost? He's thrown it too far, can't find it. I have no idea what's going on there. I swear we had 2 boomerangs, unless they're just like on top of each other. Not too sure. I mean, if there was 2 boomerangs there, it probably would be quite reasonably good. Let's get the high powered bullet there. That'll just help everything out, but obviously it's the one that would help the boomerang out the most as well. I mean, the range has actually got a bit longer. It didn't go as far, I don't think, unless the size just makes it look that way. But yeah, honestly, no idea where the other boomerang has gone. And I'm pretty sure we actually do have the passive upgrade that should allow for the boomerang Evo upgrade, but for some reason I've got about 3 or 4 level ups and it hasn't allowed me to have that, so not too sure what's going on there. But approaching the 5-minute mark, boss will be here soon. So it's just before the boss does come. I will try and collect some of these gems, get a few level ups, and there it is, just as I was complaining about it. The magnetic rebounder, that's it. It's reverse polarity. I'm not actually too sure what exactly that means. Let's get the Guardian here. You know what, I might actually refresh, because I don't think any of those weapons are going to be a great comparison for the boomerang. I'll get the soccer ball. Why not? Because we have got the movement speed as well, so I think that will be a good comparison for the boomerang as well. But there we go. We'll just quickly upgrade the void power here before we focus on the corpse sound. It does go down relatively quickly, to be fair, because we don't actually have that much close range damage. We'll get on the lucky train. It did go down really quickly. We'll get the attack power, which always helps out. Magnet should get us quite a few level ups, to be honest, and we'll start upgrading the drones because they're really low level as well. And I think we'll get the sports shoes whilst I can, just so we get the football upgrade as soon as we get that far, or even if we get that far at all, to be fair. But there it is. So magnetic rebounder, obviously the range has increased, but for me, it just seems really slow firing. It just doesn't look, it just is very underwhelming. You know, it's not actually going to do that much damage. Probably is better on a 360-degree map rather than these verticals, just because half the time the boomerangs are spent outside the map, not hitting anything, so that isn't going to be ideal, but I guess it'll still be a relatively good comparison to see how it does against some of the others as well. Let's get the soccer ball there. That's probably the best one to get. So just watching these boomerangs go through the enemies, it doesn't kill them in one hit. It is obviously meant as a group damage sort of weapon, as you can see. It does quite a bit of damage, but they don't die in one hit as they do with some of the other weapons that I've got. So I presume it's going to be most handy for towards the end, when obviously there's just pretty much enemies everywhere on the screen, and at least it's then both boomerangs are going through all the enemies, and it probably would do quite a bit of damage to them, but I guess it will depend on how much damage it's doing compared to the other weapons I've got, so we will see. And obviously with this video aimed solely at trying to get the most damage from the boomerang, both in terms of upgrading it first and the passives, if it still doesn't compete with my other weapons, then I guess it's just not worth having, and my gut instinct at the start was right in that the boomerang is just a very mediocre weapon and probably not worth having. There we go, just got a few level ups. One of them was the passive for the void gun, so we'll get the Gloom Nova, Life and Death. A few other weapon upgrades came as well. I had a magnet, quite a lot of level up, so we'll just get a few of those. Got the brick, that's all already level 3. I've only just got it, but there we go, we'll carry on powering through. I'm not actually too sure what the best way to actually get the most damage from the boomerang would be in terms of where I move my character, because the path of the boomerangs once fired isn't affected by where you move your character, so it looks like the best method pretty much would just be to stand still. Once they're fired, if you carry on running up, for example, let's just get one of the drones there, they just sort of disappear off the screen and don't hit anything, or at least you can't really see it. So I think my tactic is pretty much just to try and stand still, let the enemies get as close to me on both sides, and then the boomerangs can try and hit as many enemies as they can. That seems to be the best method that I've got so far. Here we go, 10-minute boss, the Tusker Ball. So the boomerangs is really ineffective against bosses in general, I suppose. So any sort of weapon that doesn't target anything, it's just sort of random, is not going to be great against bosses, and boomerang is probably one of the worst. It might hit it, I suppose. We'll just get on the lucky train there. It might hit it if it's lucky enough to go through it. But in general, all the boomerangs might even miss it if it's moving in the sort of wrong direction of where the boomerang's going next. So it's not going to get any damage really in bosses, especially compared to other weapons. So even though I'm trying my best here to get as much damage as I can with the boomerang, as you can see, it's barely hitting anything. I think the Void Nova is probably going to be top. That or the brick or the football, I think they'll be top 3. Drones, I think a little not upgraded as much as some of the others, and they're obviously a bit shorter range as well, considering I'm not running up, let's just get the brick there, considering I'm not just running up through the enemies to allow the drones to do as much damage. I'm trying to stand still, so they're probably out of range for most of the enemies most of the time, as obviously trying to get the boomerang to do as much damage as I can, but I think it's really struggling, but we'll see at the end. There we go, 1 ton iron from the lucky train. We've also got the destroyer, so next upgrade we should be able to get the destroyer if it gives it us. It didn't there, but it was available on the lucky train. Let's just get the football so we can actually get the Evo of the football as well. I think it's the sort of quantum ball, which would be good as well. And there it is, just as I say, quantum entanglement makes the football very good indeed. I will be doing that football v drill video soon, as I think that will be a very good comparison to see which is best. Unsure on the best way to do that, but that is for another video. We'll focus on the boomerang here moving forward. Here we go, lucky train. I think we're probably going to get the destroyer. There it is, just this range from above. I suppose that's handy just for the bosses, but realistically there's not that much getting in range of it, but so far so good. I mean, I still just can't really see the boomerangs doing that much damage. I'm trying to still work out if standing still is the best, but I think it must be. because it sort of allows both boomerangs from the top and the bottom to do damage to enemies. If I just move forward, then I don't think the ones at the bottom are going to do as much damage, so not too sure, but we'll just carry on as is. And here we might as well just get the RPG, as we've now fused the two drones together, I should say. Here we go, last 30 seconds, so you can see that there is pretty much as many enemies as can fit on the screen as possible, and the boomerangs seem like they could be doing okay. You know, they have unlimited pierce, so when they do go through a bunch of enemies, they do go through them all doing equal damage, so it does look like it could be okay there, but it just seems so underwhelming when you compare it against other weapons. The football, for example, the bricks, the one-iron ton, that is just sort of going through all the enemies as well, but it just seems to do more damage, fires a bit quicker, and goes through more enemies. But I guess we'll see at the end what has done the most. Noxian Lord as the final boss. Here he is. We'll just upgrade whatever it is there. I don't think it's going to have much impact, and boss has actually got quite a lot of HP here, so just trying to sort of stand as close to him as possible. Really tricky to even attempt to get the boomerangs to do as much damage as I can to it, so I'm just going to try and survive, but it goes down relatively easy. And there we go, so the moment of truth here. Let's see how it does. There it is. So if we remove the RPG, which we got right towards the end, so I'm not really expecting that to do any damage, to be honest. We got that with around a minute to go. Magnetic Rebounder didn't do as bad as I thought, but it is still joint last. So Gloom Nova did the most, which I was sort of expecting, with the 1 to 9 at 21%, Quantum Ball at 18%. So they were the top three, but to be fair, Magnetic Rebounder did do joint with the Destroyer, which you can't really complain at, although I did think the Destroyer, we weren't really playing it for the Destroyer to do much damage. As we were standing still, it was out of range for most things, so didn't do too much, but the Magnetic Rebounder was okay. I guess that's all you can say. It's a very mediocre weapon. I have a feeling if we were to use the drill or even the lightning emitter, or pretty much most other weapons, they would probably do more, considering we were trying to play to get the boomerang to do as much damage as possible. But there we go. I suppose if you want to use it, you can. It's probably not going to be the best, and there probably are other weapons that are more suitable, but that is it, I suppose. I don't think I'll be including it in my top build anytime soon, but there we go. I hope you have enjoyed the video, found it entertaining, helpful, interesting. Please do like and subscribe. It really does help me out, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Cheers.